Hey folks, Tech Director Mr. Cooke here. I've got a few helpful hints for you today as we're all navigating this new look of education as we're doing a lot more distance learning. Today I wanted to show you a really cool magic trick almost for Google Mail, and that is using filters and folders, which organizes your mail and makes it a lot easier to work with. And I think once you learn this little magic trick, your mind's going to be blown. So I'll walk you through a few of the paces here. Hope it'll be helpful to you. Folks, I'm going to share first with my own email account here, show you how I've kind of organized that, and then I'll show you how you can apply these magic tricks to your own account there. If you're like me, you're probably getting a whole bunch of email that comes into your account. And now that we're doing a lot more distance learning, you're probably getting even more email, which is driving you up the wall, especially if you're getting alerts from things like Google Classroom or so, which lets you know every time there's an assignment. In fact, I had one student who mentioned that they don't even read their email anymore because it's just filled so much with alerts for assignments. So obviously we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to show you, both teachers and students, how to organize your email so it's a lot easier to work through it. Now, I am typically getting several thousand emails a month. And if I left them all in my inbox, it would just be overwhelming and it'd be hard to find where they are and what's going on with that. So to help with that, Google and Google Mail have a thing called filters, which will let you filter on, say, a person or a topic or a subject or a class. And then you can put those messages into a folder, which will help organize for you. So normally I've got all my stuff coming into my inbox. And as you're working on certain things, you get an idea of who you interact with a lot and what classes you have to keep track of or what subjects you have to do. So I'm going to suggest two main ways that you can organize your email. The first one is according to people with whom you interact, and the second is topics or companies or classes. In other words, a subject area that you want to group on. So let's start with people. Since I'm part of the administrative team, I'm often in touch with other administrators, and so it's helpful for me to know when I've gotten a specific email from a person. So for instance, I keep in touch with all the principals, and I group my email according to that as well. So if Mr. Netz sends me a message, I send it to a folder. Same thing with Principal Verkijk and Principal Walhout. Anytime I get a message, it goes to the inbox, but then it's also sent to a folder within that topic. And I do that with other people on our administrative team as well. And not only do I group that specific mail into a folder, you can see over here on the left, I actually have an admin folder into which I group subfolders by everybody over there. So that helps keep this list I have on the left shorter. Otherwise, that list on the left would be almost as long as the one on the right. And I'll show you in a minute how you can group that, but that's just one way to structure that. So that's according to people. If I get email from a specific person, it's going into a specific folder there for it. In addition to that, I also do it by companies. So I deal a lot with Amazon, and I'm going to click on the folder on the left here that I have. And I immediately filter all their email to go into that folder. So if I have to go back and check on an order of something like that, I can pull it up right away just by clicking on that folder and going to it. So it's like my inbox, only specifically for any inbox messages from Amazon. And I group that for all my major vendors, companies, things I have to track. I have a folder for that, so I can always immediately go right to that folder and find it. It makes it a whole lot easier to track things like that. I can also do it by topic. I've got a folder for announcements here on the left. And anytime I get announcements from the school, and that could be the elementary school, the middle school, or the high school, I then send it to this announcement folder. And actually in these emails in particular, I take them right away out of the inbox and just send them to the folder so that I don't even have to worry about it. But if I do have to go back and check on something, I can always go back to that folder. Some of you might also know that we're a school that uses the Google Suite for education. So I get a ton of email from Google. And again, instead of leaving that in the inbox, I'm using my filters and folders to group that according to the way that I want. So instead of just looking for something from Google, I actually have a Google folder, and then within that, a number of subfolders that group it according to the information that I need. So if I get some email from Google's curriculum department, I send that to a curricular folder so that it immediately groups it there within that folder for email. In addition, Google's also sending me all kinds of alerts. So if I get a spam alert and they want to tell me somebody's reporting too much spam, things like that, it'll send me an alert, and I immediately just send that to a folder. And if I need to check on that, I can go there. If I don't need to worry about it, I just let it sit there. In addition, Google is great about letting me know where students try to log in. So if an email address should somehow get attempted to be hacked, it'll tell me where around the world people are trying to log in. And again, that's not email I need to know about all the time, but it's just a warning. So I send that to the folder and it groups it there so I don't have to worry about it until I need to look at it. And then I can just go to the folder and see that email instead of having those dozens and dozens of messages cluttering up my inbox. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I get those super cool tools and how do I get my email to behave the way I want? Glad you asked. Let me show you how. I'm pulling up my handy dandy middle school student here, and I have a demo student that I've created an account for so that I can show you how to do that. Let's start with a person. Okay, so you've got a big inbox full of stuff, and you actually just want to see email from a person. So let's say you want to see everything from Mr. Cooke. So I'm going to type my name in here, and it pulls up all the email that I've sent to this student account here. And you can go through that and check that and everything like that. And again, all I've done is I've typed in a name here and told it to look for that. And if that looks like the kind of information I want, I can click over here at the top of this little bar. There's a little arrow, and it's going to give me filter information here. It's got a whole pull down window. And you'll see, oh, here's the word I typed in Cooke, and that's all the messages that it found. However, I'm going to suggest that you do this a little bit differently. If you just typed in the word Cooke, it's going to pull up any messages that reference my name in it. But let's say I wanted just mail from me. I'm going to actually delete that so I don't do such a broad search. And I'm going to come up here and type that in. And what you want to do is you want to use the email of the person you're looking for and actually have that in the from category here. And that way I'll have just the messages from that person, which is what I'm really looking for. And then once you have that typed in, and you can see some messages behind here that are being pulled up, I'm going to come over here in the middle and create filter, and I'm going to click on that. And it's going to create a filter, and it pulls up another submenu here in the middle. All right, so I've got all this email, and what I'm going to do is apply a label over here, and the label is going to actually create the folder. So this is brand new, so I'm going to say here's some Cooke email. I'm going to create that. So it shows up as a category here, which is checked. And then I'm also going to apply this to the 11 matching conversations. And I'm going to tell it to create that filter. And every time I get email from Mr. Cooke, here's my inbox with a whole bunch of stuff. Oops, here's the inbox with a large amount of communication. I'm going to come over here to the Cooke email folder, and it will actually help me filter that down. And all these messages here are just the messages within that filter and folder. So I've created a filter and a folder for a person. Now, let's say we want to do it for something broader than that. And let's say we want to do it for just all these wonderful assignments that we're getting from Google Classroom. So every time a teacher assigns something to Google Classroom, it sends you an email alert, which is very helpful, but you end up getting a ton of stuff in your inbox. So here's how you can organize that. So again, I've just pulled up a message, an announcement that I've got an assignment, all right? And I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to come over here to the three dots, and I want to find filter messages like this. So I'm going to click on that, and now look what it's done. Instead of having Mrs. Van Lente up there, it's actually given me a code for her classroom. And I want that because I don't want just all mail from Mrs. Van Lente right now. I just want the specific classroom announcements. So Google will generate that automatically for you if you pull up that email. And again, I'm going to tell it to create filter. And I'm going to ask you to do one more thing with it this time. I'm going to actually tell you to skip the inbox. We don't want it filling up our inbox. We want to just put it in a folder. So I'm going to skip the inbox and then also tell it to apply a label. And I'm going to create a new label. Here's Van Lente. And I'm going to, it's English language art. So I'm going to give it a subject. And then I'm going to call that assignments and just abbreviate it so the label's not too long. And create that. And as you did before, I want to apply that to the conversations, in other words, the emails that you have back there. And I'm going to tell it to create the filter. And now you've got your inbox with a bunch of junk. But if you go to Van Lente assignments, it's going to show you just that information. So you've got all your assignments in one spot right there. And then if I go back to my inbox, it's actually cleaned up my inbox because I told it to skip the inbox and just put those in that folder. All right, so that's pretty slick if you group everything into a folder over here. And I would go ahead and do that for each of your Google Classrooms. Create a filter in the way that I showed you and send it directly, skip the inbox and send it directly to that folder. And then you can always come to these folders on the left and go through the assignments that you have there for it. And when you finally finish it, you can just go ahead and delete that if you don't need it. And then you'll be all set. And that way you can keep up to date on which actual assignments that you have there for it. So when you go through it and you're all set, just go ahead and delete it there. And then you'll be good. And then I'll show you one more way that you can organize your email. So we've done it from a person, and you can do that for a particular teacher or your homeroom teacher if you like. You've done it for a Google Classroom assignment and sent it directly to that folder. You can also do it on a topic. Say you've been given a group topic or something like that, and you're working with some other students or teachers involved in that, and you want to track information and email that comes through on that topic. So since I'm in this account, I'm going to say I was taking a look at problems with printing or something like that, and I want to find all the email that addresses that topic of printing. And again, you could do that for whatever topic you want to type in there. So I'm just going to type it in the search bar there, push return. It pulls up 3 messages here for that topic. And again, I can either pull up one of those messages and go to the 3 dots on the right and do that, or I can also, in this case, click on that little arrow again. And since I'm doing just a topic, I'm going to leave the general search for just the words printing there. Again, I'm not doing a specific person or a specific Google Classroom alert. I'm just doing this general topic, and I'm going to create a filter. And in this case, I'm going to leave it in the inbox because I might want to get it, but I'm going to go ahead and create a label just for that topic. So let's say I wanted to do printing for my topic, and I'm going to apply it to the messages there. And then again, I've got my folders over here on the left. I've got from a person, I've got from a Google Classroom assignment, and now I also have my topic over here on printing, and that will help you organize that. And if you want to get a little more spiffy, you can actually come over here, and there are 3 dots that if you click on here, you can assign color to those labels, and it will help you organize that way. And I'm going to just assign each folder a different color. And then when you pull it up, it also helps to organize that because it'll actually show it. So if I went back here, pulled that announcement up, it's actually got a little tag here that shows me emails under that topic. And if I went back to this folder here, it shows me from there. And actually, if I cycle through there, sometimes you can get 2 topics. So here's an email from Mr. Cooke, but not only is it from Mr. Cooke, but it's concerning that subject we were looking for of printing, and it'll flag both of them there for you. And that's how you use those magic tricks of Google filters and folders. It's a great organizational tool, and then it will clean up your inbox so that you don't have tons and tons of email there. Hope you'll be able to use that.